So I'm Ethan. I'm co-founder and CEO of a company called Apliiq. Any more space? Anyone else want to come down here? We good? Apliiq is a platform for cut and sew creativity. We are reinventing the way you customize clothes. A lot of people think of clothing customization as tailoring or as printing, and we do it with fabric and cutting and sewing it in a unique way. So I'm going to share how that works and my journey in searching for connection and consumption. So ever since I was a kid, I was pretty awesome. As you can see, I wrote awesome all around my pictures and made really cool borders, and I didn't let my mom dress me. And as some of you may know, I thought I was a surfer, even though I wasn't. I grew up in a town called Brookline, Massachusetts, which is an unbelievable place full of parks. And it was actually designed by the godfather of landscape architecture, Frederick Law Olmsted. And so I spent most of my time in environments like this instead of the mall. And I think that's affected me a lot. When I was in high school, my lacrosse coach had a company called Pimp Gear. He had trademarked the word pimp, and I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard. It was like Rocky Batty was his name, Rocky was the man. And I was really blown away by that. I thought it was so cool to have your own clothing company. He'd go out to graffiti artists around Boston and have them make hoodies and t-shirts, and I was like, man, this guy's so cool. But I was kind of daunted by this whole printing thing, and I also wasn't that enamored with it. I was like, oh, that's cool, but I don't know how that works, and I don't know, is it cool? But what was cool was my mom's fabric collection. I went down in the basement and saw that she had all these old textiles. She'd made her wedding dress, my dad's suit for the wedding, like all these clothes, these amazing quilts that they slept on. And there's something authentic in that. It's like, yeah, this is part of me. So I started taking them and stitching them onto my hoodies. I was kind of tired of wearing other people's clothes, and I wanted to have this feeling of connection with what I was wearing. So the first one on the right is the first hoodie I ever made in high school. I took my mom's little floral prints and just put it on the hood, and immediately I felt like, this is my clothes now. You know, kind of like Maceo with his socks. It was like, no, I didn't make this hoodie, but this hoodie is mine. And it felt pretty good. It kind of progressed. I found a Karate Kid headband and stitched that onto a hood, which was like a micro company for a minute. Argyle sweater I cut up, and then eventually started collecting fabrics and really getting freaky with them. In college, I went to Philadelphia, a city that has an amazing industrial history rooted in producing clothes, which has since kind of left, but there still is a fabric row where you can go and buy textiles, and I quickly discovered that there was some amazing stuff there that had been sitting there for years. And I bought up as much of the vintage, dusty fabrics as I could. It felt like I was a record digger, kind of digging for unique beats that you can't find anywhere else. And so I got these cool fabrics, I laid them out in my room, on the floor of my dorm room, and my friends started to come over and design their own hoodies. I wanted them to have that feeling of connection to the clothes, and they saw what I was wearing, they're like, that's cool stuff, make me one. So they'd come in, they'd choose their fabric, they'd choose a hoodie, they'd choose a color they want, and we'd stitch something up for them. And by the time I graduated from college, I had a lot of friends wearing my hoodies. I'd learned how to sew. I eventually figured out how to use a sewing machine, but most of it was done by hand in the beginning. And they'd come in and design something unique, and we'd create something that was special and special for them. After 2 years living in Australia, after 2 years living in Sydney, trying urban design and kind of enjoying learning how to surf for real, I moved to Los Angeles. I came to LA because I knew this was the city where I could manufacture clothes and get clothes really easily, and tons of fabric was coming into Los Angeles from all over the world. So I brought my fabric collection, I brought a little sewing machine, I set up shop. There's actually a pop-up shop downtown. I wore a weird headband and started making some clothes for folks. I also had an opportunity to start selling on an e-commerce site called Karmaloop. Karmaloop is a pretty big streetwear site based in Boston. And I immediately started posting my products there, which pretty much immediately made Apliiq a clothing company. And I was psyched, because I had customers and people were coming to the site and they loved what we were making. We started out making these pocket t-shirts, which are now everywhere, which is awesome. Yeah, this is some of the products we have on the site today, some cool tank tops. I also started throwing parties. This was one that took place in New York with Theophilus London, who has since blown up. That was in 2009, before he was so big. In LA, I actually opened a small workshop, which was a retail space on the street. People started coming in and buying stuff we had. They had you can see our fabrics are hanging on the wall. We had parties and events there. And it was cool. I was building a clothing company. But I was also really interested in conveying that feeling of connection that my friends had had to their clothes that I wanted to share. I wanted other people to feel. So while this was going on, I was building a website. And it wasn't just a place to post products like Karmaloop. It was actually a place to design them. We started out with 4 products: a hoodie, a t-shirt, jewelry, and high tops. And you could choose your fabric and your colors. I had limited fabrics. As you can see, I had this cool sketchy mock-up that could kind of show you a hoodie that you could make. I had set places where the fabrics could go, and you could buy it. And I'd make it for you. I had a team help me. I found some seamstresses to help me in LA, and we started to make these products while we were fulfilling our Karma Loop orders. That is iterated multiple times, and today you can actually choose from over 800 different fabrics. We have hundreds of different patch options where these fabrics can go, and you can really create a unique piece. One thing that all of our customers consistently come to us and say is, I love Apliiq because I can get something that I can't get anywhere else. And it's a product that people want to take, like, it's constantly stolen. Like, my girlfriend took it from me, I need to make a new hoodie, or I lost it at this party, make me another one. And a lot of that's because it stands out. It's not just something you bought off the rack, or something that's been printed and doesn't have that value that you might have if it's been sewn. We also left the workshop on the street and moved into a bigger space that was off the street, realized that retail wasn't our main game. I want to focus on e-commerce and selling to our customers online. So this is our current workshop. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Stitch Factory, which I was just at today. We got our fabrics laid out, and our sewing, cutting, and fulfillment all happening in that one place. So since 2008, we've made tens of thousands of products and shipped them all over the world to customers who are connecting with what they wear. We know this because they're posting on Instagram, they're coming in and modeling their crazy space leather acid print jackets, and they're sharing it. They're going to their football games and they're out on the streets, and it's awesome to run into people who wear Apliiq because they really do feel that connection, like, yeah, I designed this, this is mine. So there's a couple things that I've learned that I just wanted to share with you guys because I thought it was cool takeaways, and maybe this, are things that you can find as you create products that you want to kind of build connection in. I find that the value of craft, functional art, concept of creative moments, and customer controlling the factory all create this sense of connection and consumption. Value of craft. I miss my razor to death, but when you look at that thing, it doesn't feel like it was made with love. That being said, this cool plant hanger on Etsy maybe does. That handmade quality really has an aesthetic that can be conveyed through the product. Functional art. The Eames chair is one of the most iconic forms of functional art you can think of. I was just sitting in one outside earlier tonight. It's an instant icon. It's a sense of history and identity and story that comes into it. And it turns out fabric is a form of functional art. And all the fabrics that we wear have stories, whether that be your Batman sheets from when you were a kid, or your favorite Hawaiian shirt, whatever it might be. That's functional art. The creative moment. I'm a singer. We're going to have a creative moment in a minute together. But this is an opportunity to connect. This is about your right brain being activated and being inspired and making something. And finally, this new opportunity, I say new, but it's been happening for the last more than a decade, but you can now customize things how you want them, whether it be your car or your shoes, your candy, or your toys. Just about any site that sells online and has consumer goods has some form of customization. And your mouse can control the factory. It's pretty sweet. So now we're going to go through a creative moment. The big news in Apliiq is we're about to launch a new customizer that's going to take the one that you just saw to the next level of creativity. We're always trying to dive and find more ways for you to connect with your clothes. And one common criticism is that you can't put the fabric where you want it, and you can't kind of choose what the fabric looks like and make the patches yourself. So we just completed a Kickstarter campaign that brought in a laser cutter. My partner and CFO just sent me a photo that says CEO cut out of fabric. I'm so psyched about it. And this is kind of how it's going to work. So you start with your creative moment. You're inspired. You see this beautiful kitty. You draw the cat because you want a cat shirt. So you upload that cat drawing to our website, and then you can start kind of randomizing it with different fabrics and background colors. Here you have this random, cool kind of zebra print with this gray background. Then you can go into controlling the factory. You say, like, I like the cat. I actually want it to be on a green shirt with buffalo plaid, and I want to put cuffs on it. Boom. Now you can do that. And if you don't want a t-shirt, you can put on a hoodie or a tank top or a dress or a backpack or a hat. Hundreds of different garments to make this product unique to you. Once you've controlled the factory, it goes into our hands. You check out, and now we're getting into craft. We're making this thing by hand, with love. There's a lot of process that goes into this, and our seamstresses are artists. This isn't production, this is art. And finally, it turns out to be art. Here's a piece that we recently shipped, and it really feels like functional art. The fabric is this cool vintage flag print, and it's got a cool triangle crocodile thing on it. and you walk away not only having a sweatshirt, but having something that's a piece of artwork that is yours. So now, having worked in technology for a long time and realizing that I've become addicted to it, I started to write songs about that. So let's throw the computer out the window and, what's that? Talking to the mic. Talking into the mic now. And we're all gonna have a creative moment together. And so, here, I'll just finish it so you guys can have some fabric love. And me, oh, sorry. And hit me up. So this is a song we can all sing together. Some of you guys might already know it. If you do, help me. And if you don't, we'll do it, we'll figure it out. Can you sing that? Yeah, keep doing that. I take my techno when I need it, checking my texts for the hell of it, scanning the net for the coolest shit. I take my techno when I need it. And when we throw our hats in the air, I'm moving far, far away from here. Take all your pics, your flicks for the fam. I think I know, I still know who I am. I think I know, I still know who I am. This is cool. Okay, stop. Put the metal to the wires to the skin. Put the skin to the wavelength, the wires within. The wires within. The wires within. Okay, let's do the chorus together. I take my techno when I need it. 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 Up high. Done before. Yeah. Okay. Let's go up high up here. You guys stay low. Yeah. You guys got high? Alright, back me up. I take my techno when I need it. I take my techno when I need it. I take my techno when I need it. Thanks, August Creativ. I take my techno when I need it. Thanks, guys.